Hi, I am Dr. Kim Godwin and I am an instructional designer with MTSU Online. For our webinar today, we are going to discuss OERs or Open Educational Resources. Open Educational Resources or OERs. At the conclusion of this webinar, you should be able to describe the basic concepts of OERs, categorize OER examples, explain the benefits of using OERs for faculty and students, and recommend OERs for your course or others. What is an OER? Open Educational Resources, or OERs as they are often referred to, are educational artifacts that can be freely obtained and used in your courses. These artifacts are available anywhere on the internet. What you are looking for with these are things that have free use or public domain copyright notations. Some of the resources that we will show you in this webinar are actually not technically open in that they are not freely available on the internet, but they are available to you through your educational offerings as a educational professional or through the MTSU James Walker Library and the resources that they provide. We are considering those open educational resources for you because a student is able to view them when they have logged in using their student single sign-on. You are also able to find various resources because of your single sign-on opportunities. Some broad examples of OERs. There are textbooks such as OpenStax or Open Textbook Network or Open Textbook Library. These are options where full textbooks are available through these different sites. The MTSU Library or the Walker Library actually has a membership in the Open Textbook Network. So you will be able to access that information. And then other opportunities such as OpenStax are simply available through a general web search or by clicking links. Here's an option to look at with OpenStax. This is where you would go to look for various subjects such as math, science, social studies, and so on. Feel free to take a look at these at any point and see if there is something available to you that might be useful in one of your courses. As you can see, because sometimes there are some concerns that individuals have about the validity of this information, OpenStax is brought to you by Rice University, which is an institution of higher learning, and these resources have been vetted. Some other options that might be available to you are through the Walker Library, such as our streaming media opportunities. You will see that we have quite a few options, including Canopy, Swank, a PBS video collection, and several other opportunities. Please feel free to review this at any time and see if there's something that you could use in your class. I'm sure that you already know how to find articles within the Walker Library, but when you click on this, it will take you to your login credentials and allow you to view what is available through the Walker Library. A third area is internet resources. There are countless opportunities for OERs throughout the internet. Many of these have been vetted and are available for your use. One option is podcasts, so utilizing podcasts in your classes. As you know, students today and also many of us, faculty and staff, really enjoy listening to podcasts, so maybe there's one out there that could work for your class. This is one option. I selected one, but you can do a pretty easy Google search and find some that are out there. But NPR has a great list of options for podcasts. So feel free to check those out. There may be something that's pretty interesting in there for you. YouTube and other videos that are available. YouTube actually has a learning category. So if you go to YouTube and you select learning, it will take you to some of those educational opportunities on YouTube. One thing to think about with YouTube, make sure when you're selecting a YouTube or TEDx or even a podcast that you select one that has closed captioning or that you can close caption. So if the options are between a couple and they say pretty much the same thing and one is captioned and one is not, go ahead and select the one that is, because that's less work for you down the road. Many of these opportunities on YouTube are actually videos and podcasts and such that have been created by faculty at other institutions or even our own and are fully vetted and available for you at a higher level. There's also TED Talks. So Education TED is an option to look for different TED Talks that are specific to areas of content that are produced often on college campuses. So created by other faculty or subject matter experts in your field. An additional component within internet resources are educational sites such as LinkedIn Learning, Merlot, or even the MIT Open Courseware site. There are several others, and we will talk about some of those in just a second, but lots of institutions have open resource sites where you can go and gather information that's already available for you and open and free for use. And then industry sites. I did not list any industry sites for this webinar, as those are very specific to whatever area of expertise you are in. We offer degrees in countless different areas on our campus, so we wanted to leave that option open for you. But you know what some of those sites are. Some of your professional organizations or other industry related sites would be a great place to start for some of your potential OERs. Some of those organizations have created some amazing resources for you. You should use those instead of creating your own to save yourself some time. And then the final category that we wanted to add in here today is actually the MTSU Online Instructional Design Resources. This is actually a resource that has been created by the instructional designers in MTSU Online and has searchable tags. So when you click on this, it will take you to a website that lists hundreds of various opportunities for you and things to look at. You may have an area that you're really concerned about or you have a question about. So you will notice on the right-hand side of this page that there are some tags available. You can click on any of these tags, or you can search in the search bar near the top. Simply type in the tag and it should put up everything that is available for you within the public resources that we have linked through this site. Some of these are duplicates. There are links back to the MTSU James Walker Library. There are links to some other things on campus and resources that we provide. And there's also some interesting ones in here that we added during the initial push to pivot to remote instruction in March when the pandemic first hit. So we actually added a few resources in here that are for children, but they can also be used in your classes. Some of those include virtual museums. Some of them include free viewings of art and musical performances, operas, all kinds of things like that. So don't forget to take a look at some of those, because sometimes just because they may be considered a children's event, or they may have been promoted on the internet for free to children, they are great as a support within your courses to help people really see and manipulate the information as they are learning. OERs are beneficial. They're beneficial for several reasons. The two main categories are for faculty and for students. For faculty, one of the biggest benefits is that you do not have to reinvent something that someone already created. This is a time saver for you. You and your time are valuable, and there's no reason to recreate something that someone else has already created that is of high quality. Copyright gives you peace of mind. When you know that something is a freely available resource on the internet and through a school or some other industry, you know that it is free for you to use. Double check on some of them just to make sure. But typically speaking, because our courses are secured, because the student has to log in through D2L to get into it, you would fall under the educational use options with copyright information. And then most things that are listed as open educational resources are free and in the public domain. So copyright is a non-issue for you. If you ever have questions, though, please feel free to reach out to us or individuals in the library. We are happy to help you. One other benefit with faculty is that having something available through OER actually enhances your peer review options. This gives a chance for other colleagues to see and view some of the information that you are putting out there, as well as for you to view some of the other ideas and creations that other people have. It showcases innovation. There may be some things out there that you haven't thought about and you want to be able to share those with your students, or they are also great for your own professional development. Or there may be something that you have created or that you are willing to share that can give that option for you with other campuses and your peers. And then OERs also allow for continuous improvement of resources. And what we mean by that is that some resources that have been created can be a little bit out of date. There are even things right now that were created in February that are now out of date because of everything that's happened in our world culture recently. So having the benefit of OERs is you can constantly update and improve the offerings that you're giving to your students. The biggest benefits for OERs with students are that it is a tremendous cost savings. There have been studies created that show that as many as 3/4 of the students in your course do not purchase the textbook either at all until they need it for the first test, or when you specifically say that they have to use something within the textbook, and then they will sometimes even borrow a textbook from someone because textbooks are expensive. And when it comes to making choices, sometimes textbooks do not win. So if you have some options for some open educational resources, you may be saving your students a substantial amount of money and allowing them to have a more robust educational experience that they might have missed with not being able to financially afford a textbook for a course. Now, we do have some other options with that. The Walker Library does have some textbooks as part of their textbook borrowing, but physical limitations during the pandemic have made that a little bit more interesting. So it's just something to think about whether or not you can find some of those resources available without students spending several $100s on a textbook. Additionally, OERs, they support prior and post lesson learning. One of the greatest benefits of remote, hybrid, flipped, online learning, all of those different options, is that the information is there after the fact and before the fact. So if you are in your courses doing synchronous opportunities where students are meeting with you via Zoom or other hybrid options once campus is back open and you are meeting with students occasionally, one of the great things about this is that students can go in and look at some of those resources ahead of time, and after the lesson, that they might not have otherwise had. When we are in a face-to-face environment, sometimes we get one shot at our lecture, and then if you missed it, that might be it. And having OERs that can support students before coming to a lecture or after sitting in a lecture and discussing with their classmates some of the topics, this can really provide some extra opportunities for them to link to other resources and really promote active learning on their part. And then the third reason is accessibility. Most open educational resources are already accessible or need very few accommodations in order to meet general accessibility standards. And by that we mean closed captioned, alt texts are already in there. Screen readers work effectively with the different resources because they were reviewed prior to being posted for general use. So let's talk about assessing an OER. Making sure that our OERs are of value and that they are promoting the ideas that we want to make sure are of value for our students and for us as subject matter experts. So how do we know if an OER is worthwhile? Some key areas to think about are accuracy, objectivity. Is it current? So I joked a second ago about that sometimes things aren't current that were produced in February because so much in the world has changed. But in reality, that is true with that. But there's also, are we using resources that are 10 and 15 and 20 years old? So much has happened in our world in a very short period of time. Is our resource current? Are we talking about things that no longer apply? So, taking a look at the OER and seeing if it is up to the standards of today. Ownership of content, who owns it, who is giving the right for you to be able to use it. And the same with objectivity. I'm sorry I didn't expand on that one, but looking at that is making sure that it is not just opinion. There are definitely some classes and some conversations that opinion is definitely important. But sometimes we want our OERs to be very straightforward and based in fact and statistically analyzed. So really looking at whether or not it's objective is important. Inclusiveness. Is the OER aware of cultural norms? Is it aware of accessibility issues? If humor is being used, is it appropriate? Does it reinforce negative stereotypes? Is the imaging that's available applicable to students from all different race, ethnic, socioeconomic, gender, any kind of backgrounds? Are we considering those in our imagery as well? So that is one. And then there are a ton of other options that might be helpful for you to consider. To help in that process, the MTSU Online Instructional Designers created a basic evaluation of resources checklist. So this is it. We have provided that for you here, and we will also link it so that you will have access to it. But it covers those key areas that were just discussed. And then you kind of make a judgment for yourself as to whether or not you want to use it. You want to use it, but you have a few reservations. If it's not right for now, but it might be in the future, or not at all. And then using the checklist and resources provided in this presentation before you get back to the other things that you have planned for today, because we know that you are busy, take a few moments, find one OER that could go into your course today. Take a few minutes, look at some of those resources that we provided, see if there's something out there that you're interested in. If you happen to find a great one to share, please let us know and we will add it to that MTSU Online Instructional Design Resources list that we showed you previously. So here's just a little list of some of the resources that were used. We used several throughout this, and some of them are things that we have learned through our time using open educational resources as instructional designers. We wanted to let you know where you could find some support for the information that we are giving. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to ask one of us. You can email us or you can call us, and we are happy to help you if you would like some assistance in locating some OERs or have questions about how to use them. We hope that you enjoyed this webinar, and we look forward to talking to you in the future.